Good morning and welcome to today's live show. If you're not watching this live, tune into the last 15 minutes as we give a little breakdown when we end the stream. So look at the last 15 minutes for that breakdown if you're looking intraday. Look out for those YouTube videos at night. Thank you guys for joining. We're looking at the SPY this morning. Going to be clicking around a bunch, seeing that bounce come in. We were talking about some kind of bounce happening as of right now with this low down here. And now are we going to confirm this as a higher low? Kind of a bad bar right there for that higher low, but we could see some buying back up over time. We can see a direction, a method to go up. And if you weren't able to get those daily expected moves for today, that would be 505.61 to the upside, 495.35 to the downside. Remember this one right here, leaning towards, well, some weekly moves, right? Some weekly moves, some weekly 20, right? So a moving average right here. This very well could be a place where we head toward. We'll have to pay attention to that. Getting a red bar on the histogram usually would say we are going to stretch a little bit lower, but it doesn't mean we can't see some kind of bounce. We were talking about these divergences down here at the weekly expected move, which is a good shot that we're going to see some kind of bounce, but will that bounce last? I mean, that bounce could just be this, it could be done, and we start to fail down, so I'm just keeping this trend as of right now, but we could see lower prices here with this divergence. It says, hey, we could curl up that 2 hour, so then we want to see, can this 2 hour actually curl up? The thing about this 2 hour, it is very negative. Remember that. This is very negative. So if we do get a sustained bounce here, maybe we come up to this area, we go a little bit higher, well, watch out because that very well could reach an area like this and turn back around. Okay, these are the monthly expected moves. So we would expect to get back up into this zone by the end of the month. Okay, the last day of the month, we'd expect to be up here, 68% chance for that to happen. So we're going to pay attention to that. I just want to point out the MACD very, very far away. So if we get up towards that center line, curl back down, this could be some kind of bounce, some kind of dead cat bounce, and then we actually drop a little bit further. I believe that the stats show over the next 4 weeks, you pretty much have like a 50-50 shot of going up from here, like being positive from here in 4 weeks, and then 50% shot for it to be a little bit lower after the, I think it's after the 1 or 2 month mark, like exactly, you actually have a good shot at being higher up. So I think it's after the first month. We'll have to see, but it's either after the first or the second month, you actually have a very high percentage to be higher than the point you're at right now. So thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate it. As you trickle in, make sure to get those daily expected moves on your charts. The Q is looking pretty similar, and this was really cool because it literally touched the monthly expected move to the T. So even with all of this going on, technically in the month of April, that was priced in. Now, if we started to head below that, that's where something different would be happening. We got to see if this can build back up. Remember that 30-minute divergence has not crossed, but might cross very early on this morning, and we might see that positivity come in. That's where we would target this area up here. That daily expected move sitting right in a little bit of liquidity here. What if we react up like this? We scoop it out, right? We get left head, right shoulder on the way up. Mainly just maybe not the best head and shoulders, right? Neckline right here, but you could say, you know, where's it going to go to? It's going to pop up to a point to grab liquidity, and then it's going to maybe base out and then head higher again. That would really get that 2 hour to cross. Microsoft getting killed. Classes in session. Let's go. Because how high will the dead cat bounce go on the SPY? I actually think it has a good shot to come up into these areas right here. Kind of this zone. 438.28 is what I have marked off. I think that would be a solid place for us to turn back around. So I think if we get some kind of retest of that area and it fails, you notice that's where we had a bunch of liquidity. So if you're able to get through this level right here of probably 433, you can probably head up towards 438.28 on the Qs and then see if we find rejection in this area where we built a ton of liquidity. And SPY would be a similar thing, right? It's just a little bit up here. So actually that's here. So I think SPY probably 509 is where those shorts could come back in, right? So if we react like this, and then we probably measure this out, actually, I bet you it leads somewhere towards 509. So if we ended that right there, boom, okay, 512, a little bit higher. I think we would run into resistance maybe at this level, but I would say that there's probably a zone right in here, right? This is probably a zone that could be marked off. So if I was creating a zone here, I'd want to find where the gaps are and things like that. Look across. Okay, all of these lows were able to hold up at this point. This is probably a very good area to pay attention to for these sellers to come back in if we get a decent bounce here. So that's still going to be, I mean, if you really think about it, that's still going to be from the low down here as of today. That's still going to be some kind of 2% pop. If we hit the low of it, 1.5% pop. I think that's definitely possible. And as we open up, we can see if we're rolling over positive cues, are they going to roll up on this MACD right now, still holding firm to the downside. So we could look at a shorter time frame. What could we look at? 15-minute. What if that rolls over briefly? We get a test of this area, and then that thing starts to go back up. That's what I would pay attention to. Looking through, Apple showing some divergence down here. Tesla, that thing dropping off again. Look at that, curl over negative territory. Remember, even though this did make a move lower, shorting in this area, unless you're, from my perspective, you have to take it with a grain of salt because I'm a position guy. This is not a good area to take a position short, but I could understand a day trader trying to curl this down on the MACD, things like that. Like, I could understand all this. As of right now, though, you could just be creating some kind of divergence down here. You have one right here. Now you might have another one right there. So that's what I would just really think about there. Amazon, this thing's starting to break down. Remember, this can reach a lower level. That makes total sense. We actually have those weekly expected moves, right? So we can pay attention to those. And we knew it was a little bit lower, right? It was down in this area. So if we wanted to retest that area, that would make sense. That looks like what's happening right now. NVIDIA, this thing, divergence, you're trying to get this 15-minute to confirm. If you get that 15-minute to confirm, you can see a solid bounce here. And I just also wanted to point out, we've gone down about 5% in the SPY. What if that's all we get, right? So keep that in mind, even though I'm really thinking that we do head to lower levels. I actually marked off a zone where I think we could really base out. You guys want to see that real quick? I actually think this area down here, sorry, that was a weird drawing, but this area right there would be a solid place for us to base out somewhere between 466 and pretty much 480. So anywhere at these highs up here, we could see some support come in. We would get some kind of maybe ABC move to get us down to here and then see that bounce. So I'm really leaning towards this zone, maybe even just the top of it for us to base out. And then we'll have to see, is this going to be a bounce that leads to full recovery, or is it some kind of bigger bounce that leads to a big lower high? That's what I would really pay attention to. But if we get some kind of bounce, we might be able to find a little trend right here, right? That would be very, very cool. So if we wanted to, this would be actually an area where we could base out. It would make sense around that weekly 20, but if we want to go lower, I would look for this zone down here. Moving forward, AMD, someone already asked about that. This one, not looking good. Remember, this is one that I was looking at to confirm some divergences because I was like, I need to wait for some confirmations before I get into it. Glad I waited for the confirmations on this one, right? I'm glad I waited because this thing is still just dropping and dropping and dropping. No bounce in sight is what it seems. We broke through the support level here, so where are we most likely heading? Well, right now we're in a little bit of a bundle of, we're at the low of this bundle of liquidity here, so I would expect us to end up maybe down towards 133.89, maybe at these highs of 150. But overall, I think this zone's much better. I think this zone down here, 125, right down that area, looks pretty good for AMD. And then we can build back from there. Meta, this thing's starting to tear to the upside a little bit, and now it's starting to fade. So look at that, 30-minute divergence. Remember, it's not on the RSI at the same time, so any bounce here can be faded. That's something to keep in mind. Now we can pay attention, is that 2-hour rolling up, things like that. See if that 2 hour is able to curl up. That would mean a positive move's coming, but does that set up some kind of head and shoulders? We can see the trend right here going sideways. We have a left, we have a head. What if we pop up and make a right shoulder, kind of break through that neckline? Microsoft, this thing's still breaking down. Remember, this one was really, really weak on the daily. It was telling you the momentum was really, really weak, and now it's starting to fall into negative territory. So if we're not going to see a dramatic downward push right now, we most likely need Microsoft and stocks like Microsoft to pull up, because if they go negative and you're crossing the center line here on the RSI, you can really see a drop here. We could head towards like this point here, 397, like it's nothing. Google, this one, trying to hold up a little bit, crossed over on the MACD. So you do have confirmation of these divergences down here. That's something to pay attention to going forward. But we can look at a 30-minute and see the curving down of the MACD could very well be coming. And this might be one you just take a shot on if it happens. Now we want to pay attention to weekly expected moves and all that good stuff. So as we look at those, we want to see, is Google near it? It's got some points to the downside here. It really does. It could come down to 153. Something like 153 would make a lot of sense. So we're paying attention to that going forward as well. Netflix, we get this earnings soon. You're within some stuff here. I went through this chart a lot yesterday to see if we could find anything, and it looks like you're just in a high-rise channel here. So what we could be seeing is a touch of the bottom of that channel. We actually see that reaction up. So be very careful. Remember, earnings is overall a 50-50 flip. The technicals can kind of be thrown out the window with earnings, and you're most likely going to see Netflix end up in the middle here by the end of the day. And you see prices getting tight. A big move is coming for Netflix. You just know that. SMCI really dropping off. This one's starting to tear down a little bit. Really, you just want to see if this 2 hour is able to roll back over. The 2 hours able to roll back over, not a good sign. Most likely we actually need to move this down a little bit, maybe down to this very, very low here, which lines up with this gap fill. So we actually filled that gap in the past, but that means it's important. So we could drop below that level with a 2 hour cross and then get some kind of retest and just keep it going. So that resistance coming in with this trend up here, something good to pay attention to. Let's go take a peek at volatility as that thing is starting to scale up. 30-minute crossing up positive territory. We could see a move here. Remember that hourly curling up is what we're worried about. According to last night's video on YouTube, hourly turning up, that would be a bad sign. And it is starting to turn up right now, right by that center line. Excuse me. The 10-year is starting to grow here. Very interesting there. TLT is starting to drop off again. So maybe TLT does want to back off from this level. Dollar starting to scale up. VIX starting to scale up. 10-year yield starting to scale up. A lot of things pointing to some possible downside coming for stocks. So we're going to look at the SPY for a moment. It broke through that trend already. So we can look at a 15-minute, see if it creates some kind of short little divergence down here. And the Qs as well, as they break through, you have to pay attention to a divergence in the near price action as you get outside of this monthly expected move. Remember, end of the month, we end up higher than this. So at least 68% chance to do that. All right, I'm going to look at the chat now. The PCC, I got to remember which one it is, CPC versus PCC. One of them's measuring like all of the option flows or whatever, like all across, and I'm pretty sure that's CPC. So if you really want a good one, it's after hours, you take a look at this guy. And then during market, you'll look at PCC to see what's happening. But overall, you got to say, like, there's so many puts in the market now that you expect some bearishness initially. But if we bounce and start to get some calls, once this crosses back through this red line, usually it means a bullish move is coming. So if you look back, let's try, Wednesday, the 10th of April or something like that. We could see if that holds true for that moment. Wednesday, April 10th, what did we get? Well, we got a bounce from there. So you saw that bullishness come in for just a split second. That can happen. So just pay attention to that because, April 10th was when we crossed through and April 11th, we end up going up. So it is a slightly bullish thing if we can get that to turn back around with some kind of bounce at these levels. But if I was really paying attention to this, I'd just be looking for a 15-minute divergence. I think it's pretty simple. 15-minute divergence would look pretty good. And then we see a maybe a bounce going on into the end of the day. Remember this too. This wasn't unexpected to come down to this level, right? It wasn't unexpected because there's that 20. It's right there. So we can be a little bit careful today as we see things hitting some downside. So we just want to pay attention. 15-minute big sell bar. Big sell bar, by the way. So huge sell bar there. Really, you want to say, if we're breaking through this level, we maybe even head towards that daily expected move, and then that's where the buyers step in. So just pay attention. We might see some kind of crossing up through this area. If not, then it might be all bets are off, and this thing's just going to tank. But the SPY holding up above its weekly, so not the worst news in the world. IWM, this thing looks pretty bad, but you can see the triple divergence across. Looks like a good move might be coming for IWM soon. And pretty much we just want to see what's going to happen the rest of the day. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about with gold was this is an opportunity for it to possibly pull back. I just noticed these 2-hour divergences across the way here looking pretty steep. So a pullback here would make sense, and I think maybe we head towards 215. I think 215 would be a solid place. If we're going to head a little bit lower, I'd say maybe we come retest this guy, but maybe by the time we get there, it's up towards 215 in this area. So I do see, you know, and the technicals are at least saying gold might back off for a split second. I just wanted to point that out today. Oil, kind of similar, right? It saw some similar stuff up here, and then it kind of just faded. Tried to flag out and stuff, tried to consolidate, didn't work out, popped through this low right here, and all bets were off. So it already got that pullback. And another thing, Bitcoin has that halving, and you're noticing that this 2-hour divergence across the way, which is comparable to a 30-minute during regular trading hours, it actually was able to cross. So this is a sign that the 2-hour could switch the trend here. So I wanted to point that out. Make sure we're able to break through this flag, though. We're in like a big range kind of flag. So that's what I would pay attention to there. Where's the cues? We kind of want to watch the cues for a moment, right? We want to see if this 15-minute divergence is able to add up to anything. Because even though we could head towards the daily expected move, I don't think they want that to happen. I think that test of that 20-week moving average makes a lot of sense from this area. And if we start to buy up from there, that's pretty cool. Good morning. Thought DJ Trump was gonna pull the rug under your puts there. We'll have to see. Let's see. DJT, we have this heading a little bit lower. Looks like it's curling over. So you still can see weakness in this because look where we're at. We're at the center line. So if you wanted a place to target, I really like this zone, 1950 to about 1692. So about, 20 to 17 looks pretty good. But if you want the exact, I'd say 1949 to 1692. If that's able to curl down, hey, negativity, we're going to probably test this low or come make a new one. And the reason we can make a new one here is just because you have a decent amount of room here to create some kind of divergence or not even create one, just see this rug pull again. But we could see this happen and go up. We could see it base out from here if the market sentiment gets a little better, or we could see a retest of this. But this is looking pretty bad, actually, for DJT. And we're crying on the stream today. So here's one thing to note about the Qs. That 30-minute did not confirm that divergence. So no real reason to take the trade just yet. Excuse me. Red day today. Who thinks it's going to be red all day? Say red all day or green by end of day. What do people think? Yeah, Tesla's still just tanking. Remember, this is why it's like, as a position trader, not a good time to buy a position. As a trader, hey, like, look at that. If this would have curled over up here, but you're already oversold. So it's like, if you took this, I'd still be taking profit. This is a big zone. Yes, you can head lower, but you also could hold up at the top of it. You could hold up at the very high of it. So anything in this zone would be a solid take profit, in my opinion, as you're below that monthly expected move. Big red with a good pullback at the end. Okay, green at the end of the day. Green until the last hour, then rug pull. Okay, you think it's going to be green till the last hour. Well, it's red right now, so, it can't be green all day if it's red already. You know what I'm saying, Steven? Green, green, green. Everyone thinking it's going to be green. Hopefully that's just our channel being good traders. But in order for this to get green, we probably need to confirm this on a 15-minute. We need to see this buyback up. That would be a good hipfire move down, get people to go short again, and then stop out those calls. And then we get that move up. That would, trap these people down here who think it's going maybe even to that daily expected move. And then we go up, take out this high. That would take out those shorts, maybe the stops on those shorts, and we see a big move up. That would be very, very interesting. I'm a big bear, but this is a bear trap. Dead cat bounce back to 505 on SPY. The divergence from Bitcoin played out yesterday, possibly found our bottom yesterday. That's pretty much what I'm kind of thinking. We got to see that positivity though. If that just keeps rolling over in negative territory, you know, more downside is there, and you're starting to break through structure if that would happen. Please let me know what you think about calls on Microsoft. Well, let's see if there's a reason to take the trade yet. Not necessarily yet, but you can see it. 15-minute, you can see it. So where is Microsoft? Well, we got to see where it's at with those weekly expected moves. So that's what's good about being a part of the Patreon. You know where those weekly expected moves is. So saying there could be a bounce from Microsoft from this level would make sense. And you have a few reasons to get in if this 15-minute can cross up, maybe break through this trend, right? That's what I would say. I would say if it breaks through this trend right there, I would just do that and say if it breaks through that, I can see an upward move. I can see this 15-minute trend go back to positive. So solid one to look at there. Whoever brought that up, that's a good one to look at. AMD, oh my gosh, AMD. Nvidia really, I think we could see that buying up from this area. Tesla getting. Let's go look at Tesla again. It's still in the same place it was. Remember, divergences here, guys. There's divergence at this level. This is a take profit indication. I know this zone is big. I know this is a huge sell-off, but don't think there won't be bumps in the road. You'll probably do this. You'll see people who actually catch a bid for it, and it goes like this, and then that 2 hour rolls over, and you'll have another entry in the future. Be patient. Trade like water. 0.7 until SPY closes its gap, and maybe a 0.3 more to the support below. We can see a good 1% before it bounces, and I would lean towards that if we would actually lose this weekly expected move again. If we would actually confirm a new low here, then yes, I would be targeting that daily expected move. But as it holds up and the Qs start to maybe get a bounce and get back into here, we can see if that confirms, but it's just looking like we might get that bounce a little earlier on today. But I'm open to downside because the VIX showing that hourly might cross up. But now we're seeing that fade. So we're starting to go negative. If that rejects here, that might be pretty damn bullish. A lot of bearishness coming in. So this is the PCC. Pretty much you can just see like what people's initial reaction is. But usually the initial reaction to the bear side on PCC will lead to some downside. It's when it crosses back through. So I have the points marked off here as well. And when it crosses back through, that usually means we're getting some kind of bounce. People are starting to get some calls. And then if it actually is able to cross down back into the center area, it's actually kind of a sign that we're going to see some kind of bounce. USO, right? This thing could bounce from here, so we're paying attention to that. But I want to see what gold does throughout the day, seeing this curl up. Does it get one more curl up like this and then fail? We'll have to find out. But gold looking like it needs to back off. BITO seeing an upward move. That one's looking pretty good. This is one that I actually took just because I saw that stuff on Bitcoin and I was like, okay, maybe this actually heads up. So right now we're going to test this level here. That'll be our first big test for BITO. Probably a good test in that area for Bitcoin as well. If we can get really, solidified here, maybe complete a big cup, get a handle and start to head up. Maybe even just come up to this area of 64,000 and create that left head, that right shoulder in this area, right? That would be very, very good for Bitcoin as far as structure goes. No nonsense today, but we are seeing some green right now, guys. So 15-minute, we could curl up. Positive territories right above us. Remember, we're getting close to that center line. Getting close. Morning, Lucas. When you have time, can you take a look at PayPal? I haven't looked at PayPal in a long time. I've traded PayPal before on a swing trade. This one looking like divergence across the way. I'd probably like a 30-minute better. I think you'll have it. Yeah, 30-minute. So when I see it on a 30-minute, I trust it more. Less likely to have a triple divergence than 15 minutes get triple divergence all the time, right? We're getting that on the Qs. We get it all the time. 30-minute, a little less likely, still likely, but we could see this actually proven if we get that 2 hour to cross up. So PayPal, looking for a bounce in this area, makes sense. We have decent liquidity there. What if we get some kind of bounce up? What would that do? Well, it might curl up this 2 hours. So let's see if that 2 hour looks like it wants to curl up. Yes, it does. But notice it is pretty deep into negative territory. So I just wanted to point out, if we're going to actually head higher, you're going to need to break through this trend right here. That's going to be important, but you could see this roll up and then roll back down when it gets towards that center line. So just pay attention if we do get a strong move. Earnings going to be important with this one. Earnings season is going to really be important for the stock market. XLE, and I think this one here, a lot of people were talking about it backing off and catching a bid soon. This is kind of like, well, if it curls up, what does it do? Well, this thing's been going ballistic for quite some time. A pullback was necessary. Where did it pull back to? Well, this area right here makes sense, actually. It's probably the only little bit of flatness there. It lines up with the high up here. So you could say it could go a little lower, probably right to about here. But what you want to pay attention to, you want to see if there's anything you're seeing right now. No 2-hour divergence, no 30 minutes. So what this would tell me is XLE most likely makes another move down. And then we have to see if it creates that divergence. Right now, you're just seeing almost like a little head and shoulders on the short time frames, I'm sure. But if this just rolls over, negative territory, another move down, that zone is literally right here. It lines up with this area right here. So I think 92.28, probably a good line in the sand if XLE wants a bounce to create a divergence at that area. Q still haven't confirmed that 30-minute divergence, so we're going to pay attention to the 15. If that one's able to confirm another upward move, we'll have to see. Right now, seeing that rejection come in, so that is interesting going forward. Welcome, Uniworld. Howdy, howdy, Adam. How you doing? How's everyone doing out there? We doing all right? Everyone doing all right? XLE is holding now. I think over the next 4 months, XLE does climb up again. Especially if it gives me that 30-minute divergence, I'll really be convinced of another move in the 2-hour. So I think over the next 4 months, you will see a solid bounce. Does that bounce lead to reversal? That's when you'll have to look if the daily's rolling over. Oh, Ari's crying a little bit up there. It's a beautiful day outside, guys. It's been 80 degrees and sunny for the last week here. It was 90 degrees on Sunday. It was nice. And then today, it's very, very rainy. And you guys know, I like pho. So guess what I'm going to go get today? I'm going to go get me some pho. Heck yeah. Who wants to join? Good morning, Junior. Good old Kansas. We have, in my city, we have such a big Vietnamese community. We have the best pho. So ready for whenever you're done. I do not like the snow. I really am not a fan. Yeah, I'm going to get FUD up today. I'm going to get so FUD up. Beautiful day here too. What are your thoughts about Tesla right now? Buy, hold, sell. I think Tesla catches a bid in this zone. And a simple little divergence might prove that. Now, 30 minutes going to look rough though. Look at that thing just starting to curl over. So you really want to wait for confirmation here. But I think once that confirmation comes, you're going to see a bounce. But you could end up way lower here, guys. Now, you are creating that divergence as of right now on the 15-minute. So what you can do, pay attention to the 15-minute. If this catches a bid here, you can take a shot with it. Keep your stop in place, right? Stop is very important, but you see it's a very steep divergence, very steep divergence. If I was more of someone just trading this back and forth, I'd take a shot at holding Tesla probably for the next couple weeks. See, I could probably get some kind of bounce to retest this important area of 160.72. And then I would just say, okay, let me get out of this. The environment's not the best. Let me make sure the sentiment's flipping back. Buy after earnings if you're a long Tesla. And that's kind of what it probably would happen, but you just want to be careful. If we get that bounce now and we build up to here before earnings, you have that shot again that now you've built up and the technicals, the momentum might be slowing to the upside. So that can lead to some bad things, especially if the news is bad and the momentum is bad, then you can see major negativity. But if the momentum's bad and it comes out as positive news, you most likely don't see as big of an upward move. EMA for the 20. For the 20 EMA, just because that's where we gravitate to most of the time. Most of the time you'll get retests of the 20, like all the time. It's a very important area. But for SMA, I do use the 5 because you're trading the price action in real time. So I think the 5 being on an SMA is very good. And the 200, I believe I have as an SMA as well. I've thought about looking into like seeing if it would be better as an exponential. It probably would, so I probably should look into that honestly. But as of right now, I'm just sticking to it. My charts have been working for me for so long that I don't want to change anything. You know what I mean? Kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it type deal. NVIDIA, what we think here is if it confirms 15-minute divergence, you could roll up to 30-minute. If that 30-minute rolls up, well, you do have divergence between these lows here. So you do have some argument for double bottom here. We were talking about a 2-hour. That's an extreme spike down today, by the way, outside of the monthly expected move. So if you caught this and it was outside of the monthly expected move, congratulations. If you were like, I noticed it was outside of the weekly expected move, because that's very, very cool. Seeing that buyback up. So what you'd really look for is the 2-hour to go positive here. The 2-hour can go positive. You can see a sustainable bounce. If the 2-hour is not able to fully go positive, meaning the 2-hour rolls up and then that just rolls right back down, you might get some kind of dead cat that then kind of fakes people out to the upside. But I actually think you got a good shot of NVIDIA just taking off right now. I think you do have a shot of that happening, and I'm open to it. But I'm just waiting for maybe the Qs, maybe the SPY to show me, are they going to set up that lower high? And that's what signals I'll pay attention to. So pretty much, if we get a sustainable bounce here, paying attention to 438.28. If we do something like this, I'm going to see if there's a steep divergence right here. That's pretty much my overall outlook. And notice that's how I'm doing it. I'm thinking into the future if I get that bounce. If I see a drop, what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for some kind of pullback to actually enter a position. As of right now, you have tight divergences, so I don't want to play around with it. I would much rather miss out on some kind of drop and then see us go sideways and build up like this. Then we get some kind of big move down, and then we build up towards that center line and drop again, kind of like we did right here. This is a very easy trade, and I highly encourage you to look for trades like this because they actually come around way more often than you think. And it's just a very, very good trade. You could even have argued for it right here, right? We build up towards the center line. We see that fade. We lose 438.28. We cross over on this MACD, but you lost that low. So right here, you could take that position, comes down, you're out, right? Because you're oversold. You see that move across, build up to the center line. You're back in, downsides there. You play the monthly. We played the daily was right in here, right? So this zone right here was a perfect sell zone. Oh, the Dow. Yeah, we can check the Dow real quick. Which head and shoulders? Also the Dow, this is one thing we were paying attention to. 30-minute getting close, creating another point of divergence. Remember, we said if the Dow breaks through this trend, we're probably going to see a positive trend here, right? We're going to see a trend reversal. And then we'll have to see if that can keep building up over time or if that's just going to fail pretty quick. So we'll pay attention to that going forward. But sorry, that was NVIDIA. And NVIDIA, yes, I am worried about it, but I'm just saying what I'm going to do to think about it is, hey, well, this high came up above it, so technically not head and shoulders at this level. Now, if you want to play it from this point right here, you could say left head, right shoulder. Definitely could, but a lot of the time on these, it's kind of like over here. We get a complex left shoulder, then we get the head, then we get a right shoulder. Do we get a complex one on the right here to give us some kind of bounce before that fades? That's what I'd really be paying attention to. That's why I would probably be doing something like this right now, saying if I can cross through this trend right here, hey, some upside is possible. That's how I would really view it at this point. But we got to buy up first. There's no reason to really take any upside here until we see the market actually bounce, right? Gold looks like it needs to pull back. Just 2-hour divergences are playing out. Gold really looks like it needs to pull back, and you're seeing it fade at the highs here again. Now 15-minute crosses up, we go positive. That trend can go back to positive. Really what I want to see, though, is even if this 2-hour curls up, it's going to struggle a little bit because the momentum up here is a little dead. We kind of wicked out. It's a good sign that we are going to see some kind of pullback, and I'm leaning towards this area right here, this 214, 215 area, I think is very, very good for gold to pull back to, and then I think we have another run as long as we don't get out of this little channel we're in. We're kind of in a channel as of right now. Now you do have a wedge right here, but that would just back you off a little bit, right? It wouldn't really tear you down. So if we broke this level, where would we end up? Well, this says 213. I think 215, 214, a good area to hold up. Probably 215, 214. You get a little bit lower, but yeah, it could. It could. The reason I'm leaning towards that, though, is just daily 20, right? I just talked about the 20. Why it's good to have an EMA with the 20 is just because it adds up everything, right? So that means this is the most likely place for it to go to. And what if we just did this really quick and then we see that buy back up, get a 2 hour to cross up, another move higher? That'd be cool. Bitcoin up 2.5. BITO up 3% now. And the Q's not giving us too much bouncing just yet. Let me go look at something real quick here. Oh, god dang. This thing's all mixed up today. All right. Last thing is, remember, guys, the data that came out this morning, the only important piece was, initial jobless claims. Those coming in even. This is just a dud for the day. This is a dud, so we have to really see what the market decides. We do have some Fed speakers. We have another Fed speaker. We have auctions again. We have the 15-year mortgage rate, 30-year mortgage rate. So we could pay attention to these. But overall, you just know the initial jobless claims, there really wasn't much there at all. And we don't have much the next few days. So if we get some kind of positive sentiment, we can actually see a good bounce here. GDP growth rate and things like that then come into play at that point. I can take a look. Oh, yeah, okay. These as well, you can see the divergence across here. So if you take the course, you could find weekly ranges for these individual stocks. But as of right now, you're seeing 15-minute divergence across the way. I like 30 minutes more, and you have one down here, but it is kind of low, is all I would say. So you do have an opportunity for some kind of bounce and then maybe some kind of double bottom, really give you a solid base. As of right now, you have a 15-minute double bottom, but 30-minute, I like to be pretty close to that center line. But it looks decent. If you look from the daily scale, you're probably testing the you're testing the 20. So there you go. This is an area where it would like to get a bounce. If it doesn't bounce from here, well, you're going to cut through some stuff, but you have support right below you with these two highs. So this area right here, maybe that's where that 30-minute solid divergence is formed. Just notice this too. It's like, this selling pattern isn't really here anymore. So we're kind of tapering at this point. That's what I would pay attention to as well. Like, we're in it right now, but see if we're able to get outside of that. Because right now you're seeing some green within it, which is a good sign that we're going to taper and probably pull off a little bit on this move as we start to move like this, right? So now we're kind of tapering this way. We got to see if we can do something like this, and then get up to this area. We all know the jobless claims is cooked. Yeah, that's why it's readjusted every single month. The previous month is always readjusted. Oh, and I'm sorry, Kasoon. Thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you. We love some new people coming in. NVIDIA fighting for its life, or is it still possible to go up? Well, it is fighting for its life right now. NVIDIA is fighting for its life. This is a very important area. Remember, we've had 841.46 marked off for a very long time. For almost a month, we've had 841.46 marked off. And look at this. In April, we've touched it twice, right? We knew this area would be important if we saw some downside. Now you have some divergence, some possible double bottom here, so you could get a bounce. I would just say you want to break through this to see big positivity. The likelihood of a bounce is good, but what's the likelihood we break through this? Well, the sentiment right now is negative trends, and you're very far away from that center line. So the fact that we bounce up, we actually do have the potential for one more drop in this move, even with a solid bounce. Just wanted to point that out. But will it be able to break through that level? Or is it just going to do this, then this, then this? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm leaning towards a little bit lower prices in the overall stock market, which could mean lower prices for NVIDIA. But what I would just say here is most likely we're going to make some kind of ABC move. Get down towards this zone. I like this zone. All right, let's keep it on the daily expected moves and things like that. I think it's already at the 50. But my 50 is an SMA, by the way. Maybe I should change that. I might look into changing that. I'll see if it, maybe I'll play with it on a different chart list. See if it holds up better, back test it a little bit. DHI. I mean, as of right now, sell the rip, but I mean, this is where if you base out, you can do that head and shoulders. Doesn't it kind of look like the stock market, right? We're still down here with the stock market, with the SPY. We need that bounce up. So we get that bounce up. Hey, we get a little excited. People take profit. Okay, cool. Now what do? Do we actually base out here? Do we base out and cross through this level? I think if you break through this level again, if you can build up some liquidity and break through that level up here, what is that? 152.50 pretty much. I think you got a good shot of going and filling that gap. That's what it looks like to me. Oh, yeah, okay. We got Exxon. This one's going to probably be beat down a little bit, but we're seeing that curl up. We had 30-minute divergence here. So 30-minute divergence. Remember, you can learn how to make individual weekly ranges with the course. So it'd be good to put that on these energy stocks too. But right now you're just seeing the divergence here. It's playing out. Is that able to curl up the 2 hour? You're still 30 minutes still far away. It's telling you there's potential for the 2 hour to curl up if the 30-minute can go positive. But it's still got some room here. So what if it makes one more down move? That would be interesting. You'd want to see maybe where that could hold up. Well, you're within these highs up here. So this whole zone here is very, very good. Maybe you want to go down to 115. Maybe you want to hold up somewhere at 116.70, right? Something like that would make sense. Just a little bit lower to create another divergence. But right now, you'd have to say, if I go into a shorter time frame, like a 15-minute, that thing is starting to climb and go positive. We have some structure to head higher here. If we start to break through this level, we close above 119.20. Then I'd be convinced, hey, maybe there's an upward move here. You kind of see it. Left head, little right shoulder, cup, handle. You have a lot of reasons that this could see some kind of jump. Does that last? That's what you have to pay attention to with that. See if that 30-minute rolls back down into negative territory. That would be very telling. That's why I think we end up green today, NASDAQ. Remember, Bitcoin's going to be different. Bitcoin is pretty much like an individual thing right now. And Mort, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you being here and welcome to the channel. Everyone, like the video for N Mort. Appreciate you coming in. Overall, Bitcoin's event could make it bullish. Does it affect the market? Well, a lot of people are going to be pumping money into Bitcoin, so probably not as much goes into the market unless that bullish sentiment goes across. I would think even if Bitcoin makes a new high, gets up towards that 80, 85,000 that we were talking about, I still think the market has a very good shot to make a lower high and kind of diverge from Bitcoin. But I could totally understand if we had a higher and we just pay attention to the signals at that point. If dailies start to roll up, if things like that start to happen, we have a case to head higher. We're just retesting the 20-week moving average. Literally, like, right now. No, and don't hate to bring up Bitcoin, by the way. Yeah, we're fine looking at Bitcoin, especially important times like now. Okay, now we're seeing some buying up, but remember, we're still within this last bar. So we're going to zoom in real close here. Let's get this real close, see what's going to happen for the rest of the day. But 15-minute, boom, positive move, maybe backs off, then gets another positive move. That would be very, very telling. Boom, boom, boom. That would be very, very good. Excusez-moi. There's Tesla's trying to base out. Amazon, double bottom. It just rejected. If this can confirm above this high here, you got yourself a double bottom there. You could see an upward move. What do? We go back to this level, we base out, then we go and test 185. AMD, no real divergences here, but we're actually catching a bid here. Finally, took forever. Meta, this is a solid bounce, and this is very, very strong. The fact that we're not even building liquidity, we're like, we have enough here, we're going to go higher. That's kind of crazy. So good move from Meta. Microsoft, this one, trying to create those divergences, trying to get an upward move. We need to see some buying up in a lot of these stocks, but you can always, the good thing about a lot of these stocks is you have so many that are showing you this good liquidity at a key level. So that's very, very cool to see. Very, very good. Now Google's a lot different, actually. Google on the 30-minute looked like it wanted to roll down again. Look at this. So Google, maybe not the best option as of right now for a trade, unless we can get that 2 hour, sorry, that was a 1 hour, 2 hour to curl up. You see that 2 hour curl up, positivity incoming, boom, we could see a big move if we get that 2 hour to curl up. Netflix, this one's starting to catch a bid. 2 hours, starting to curl up, positive territory. What if this thing rips to the upside and then tears away with earnings? Be careful with that, but you are in a channel. So if you wanted to head higher, it would make sense. We could get a positive move. Maybe we stop right here. Maybe we stop all the way up here if they produce some really good numbers. That still would give you that divergence up in this area. So we'll pay attention to this. I'm not going to trade around this. I'm just looking at it as a market sentiment. If Netflix is bullish after tonight, during tomorrow, boom, we might see a big bullish move in the stock market, and then that might actually get faded and ripped away as we get more data next week. So next week, GDP, just a few other things. Durable goods, I think, is next week. So I'll be paying attention to that. But if those are good for the market, this might be all we get. Just to clarify, that might be all we get is this little pullback here, 5-ish%. Now, the stats would tell you, from this point right now, we normally do have a 50-50 shot to go higher or lower in the next what? I think in the first month. And then once you get to the second month, it starts to look better. Good morning, JS. How we doing? We doing good. FitBH, I didn't say hi to you. Georgie, Roman, Jeremiah, Mike's in here. Mark's here. Fabiola, I like that name. Johnny Boy hikes. He likes hiking. I hate to see Netflix go higher. They already charge too much for their services. Now it'll only justify further price gouging. Well, the thing is, Tesla could bottom at any moment here. Pay attention to a 15-minute divergence. Now you want to see if that leads to a sustainable bounce, first of all. J Dubs, good morning. What I would say is, like, Netflix actually, I don't think Netflix is charging as much as they should. You have to think of it this way. How many people spend so much time on Netflix every single night and they're only paying, I don't know how much it is now, $15 a month or something. But I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying the reason they probably need to make it more expensive now, I think originally it was good, right? You're just getting other companies, get that stuff in there. Okay, cool. Now you can play Friends all night, stuff like that. But the reason Netflix really suffers and a lot of streaming platforms really suffers because they try to make their own movies, and it's just not profitable at all to make your own movies. It doesn't drive new people to join. It doesn't do any of those things. Actually, the method of YouTube movies is probably better, where they have a bunch of movies for free that you can watch, right? I have YouTube Premium and I can watch those. And but I can also rent or buy a movie for like $12. It's like, that's what I like. So what I do, by the way, if you wanted to know, I was for a while. I haven't done it lately, but I try to buy one movie on YouTube every single month. That way I have like a little booklet of my own. I have my own little Netflix. Second day in a row, nothing but head, feet, hands in my back and up all night. And I'm here late to the party. Willow, that's all right. I understand the struggle. I'm just going to brag for a second. We had a good night. We actually got her to sleep in the bassinet. Well, Mom did. I didn't do anything. but she got her to sleep in the bassinet. And she slept very, very well, woke up, ate a little bit, rolled back over, went in the bassinet. I was like, oh my God. It happened. Got to take the wins where you can get them, you know? Looks like we might be shifting into a positive trend over here. Oh, just kidding. Needs divergence. First to bark, sing when you start singing. Oh, yeah. I should teach him to bark just to be like, stop it. That 15-minute trying to confirm right now on the cues, so. Big move. BITO today, printing a little bit. Clicking around. A la da da dee and a la da da dee doo. Oh, God. I'm singing Christmas stuff. Yeah, I definitely hear that, but I'm losing on this trip to Florida. Did you guys take like a family trip and he's going bonkers? Oh yeah. Well, actually, not with that tone, JW. I like the first question. I know you asked it once, but you gotta be patient. Gotta be patient. I'm a human being. J. And this is to practice you being patient. Okay? There you go. I got you. Don't worry, man. You know I'll look at it for you. I love seeing you here, J-Dubs. Now, we were talking about J&J. We were talking about this 30-minute rolling up, right? We were seeing if this thing could see some kind of buying up here. Now, for J&J, you want to just pay attention to, right, were we looking at like a 2-hour? You see some 2-hour curling up here, some divergence in this area. But overall, with J&J, the support level right here is what we were talking about. We need to take this back. It is an area where you could think about it. You are below the 200. This is a zone that you broke out from. It would make sense to get a bounce from here. That's perfectly fine. But as you are extremely oversold, you can see a reaction. But I just want you to notice how we're still riding that. You know, we're getting pops above the 200, but we keep failing. So is that going to happen again? That's what I would overall say here. If we get a reaction, this is a big downward move. We could go retest a moving average. We could retest this one. We could retest this one. We could retest the 200. We could get above the 200, but eventually it looks like almost every time we react up, we curl down. So if we're going to see some positivity for a while here, does that just roll down in negative territory again, keeping these negative trends, right? Every time we roll up into positive, what do? Go back to negative. Roll up positive, try to go negative, go very positive, then we go negative and start that trend. So I would just be careful. It looks like J&J not the strongest, but I would totally understand an investor looking at this for a few weeks. I wouldn't say there's an options play here. Definitely not an options play here. I think it should stop right now. But that's you know, I think it should stop. The stock's going to do what it wants to do. I would just look for 30-minute. Exactly what we look for on these, you want to look for on J&J. See if you can build maybe some weekly ranges and things like that. But I think 140 actually does make a lot of sense for that. That's not too much lower. I mean, it is lower for sure, but you know, you're looking at what, 3% lower or something like that. And you're pretty much in an area where you can bounce, but overall you're building liquidity. So one thing to be very careful of here is, remember you're building liquidity like this, and it's going up towards that center line. So if that curls down, if it takes out this low, you're going to head lower. So pay attention to that first. But as far as right now, you're not necessarily seeing anything that says like, hey, this is definitely based out. I would say if it starts to retake 147.24, then you have an argument for that positive trend really continuing. But until that happens, you have to say, hey, getting towards the center line, that curls over, negative territory, boom, heads down. Hughes, they're confirming it. They're confirming it, guys. What's the SPY doing? Oh, getting a tiny cross here, but able to build back up. That's very, very good. I don't know what that trend line is. Oh, I think I just put those in for the morning to see if we'd see some crossing down. Didn't have enough here. Now we go reach down. People just went really short. And look at this. Now the PCC, it's going to cross back down. And now we can see some kind of bounce come in. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. That's how our baby doctor talks. Whenever I see him, he says, "Pretty girl, dad." And I love it. He's a very, very nice guy. Good morning. Oil rolling over. Yeah, oil here, similar to kind of gold, but getting more of a sustained pullback. So this is a solid pullback that I think gold's going to do something like this, kind of just pull down. But you're seeing that roll up. The thing about this that is worrisome is you have a bunch of liquidity here, and you could just roll up on the 2 hour, get a retest, and then see that thing fail, right? Because you're so far away from positive territory, you have a very high likelihood of staying in a negative trend. I just want to point that out. For oil right now, not looking the best. Now, if we go into a 30-minute, you see the divergence, you can get that bounce. I would just say, pay attention to probably right here, this 84.72. I think you could even mark that off. Nope, we want a line here, horizontal ray. Boom. I think right there looks very, very good for the sellers for some selling to step back in, for some kind of, resistance to step in. I think we could get that move up. Pay attention to my 2 hour, see if that creates any kind of divergence in this move, and then see another drop through that level. You're breaking trend as of right now, by the way. I marked this on US oil here. So you're breaking through this little trend that's been going on. We have multiple touches to it. So you just have to take that in. So if it wants to see a positive move, maybe it builds up to here. You also have the potential to head lower first, right? Create some kind of left head, right shoulder. That would make a lot of sense to head down. I just think the upside looks a little limited here as of right now. But if we start to do things like, we're curling down on the daily, we start to curl back up, if my MACD wants to present itself. So if we had a little bit lower, get an actual test of the 50, but you're wicking out right in a liquidity zone. So it makes sense if we want to head higher here. I would just watch out for a lower high. I think we get the 2 hour to react up to this level, and then we see that fail. That's what I would say. At least that's what I would say the charts are leaning towards. That's the better way to put it. I'm open to the other side, right? Always open to anything in the market because the market does what the market wants, and then we just react to it. Come on, Qs, let's get a bounce. Good morning, Alan. How you doing? Ah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right. So I want you guys in the chat, tell me what you think happens from this point exactly. What do you think happens from this point exactly today? Do we actually get above this high, start some kind of positive trend, see this 15-minute go positive? So pretty much, do we start a positive trend or continue negative trend? And I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. And we're back. We're back. Let's see. Levels out. More negative. I don't know, but I gotta go. Alan! Why are you leaving me? Wait, my dog. The funny part is one of my dogs' names is Alan. So when I say that, he's like, what do you mean I'm right here? I don't know what to trade, honestly, then take a break. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm just being honest. Oh, let me turn this back on. I'm just being honest. If you're like, I don't know what to do, the worst thing you can do is take a trade. You're just chilling. Chill. There will be if you waited probably every single month for the perfect setup that looks the best and you only took that one, you'd probably be one of the most profitable traders, right? One of the things is the more you trade, the more you have a chance to see something crazy and it go the wrong way on you. Dollar, we can look. It's starting to scale up a little bit here. The thing is about the dollar, 2 hour, probably the only thing. 2 hour can drive up. We can see a big move in the dollar. Does that correlate with the VIX going to curl up? Not necessarily right now. 10-year yield starting to curl up. Hey, that thing can go positive here. So this trade right here, might want to think because it might come down and then see that pop back up in the near future. But the dollar here scaling back up. What did we say? Well, hey, we can get the dollar to come back down to 105.65, and that's exactly what's happening as of right now. We just want to see, maybe this wants another upward. Like I said, I'm leaning towards prices going lower. I just think we get a bounce first. That's just all I'm saying. So if this hourly can curl down, that would make some sense. Really, the dollar pulled back dramatically, and we haven't seen a sustained bounce. So you'd have to say there are some people getting back into this market right now. But it just looks like on the daily or on the 2 hour there, it looks like curl up, another strong move coming. So you'd look for probably cup handle, head higher here. Can Tesla go to 145? Doubtful. 15-minute divergence here for Tesla. Outside of the month, outside of the weekly, outside of the monthly too, I think. So this right here is actually where I would expect at least some kind of reaction just to get us back out of this zone. It's kind of like a test of this zone. Maybe we get a big bounce, get people to go really, really short, take out the calls, people go really short, take out the stops on the calls here. Shots on the calls. No, I'm saying that wrong. Take out these stops on the puts here. My bad. I was like, my brain farted for a sec. I was like, wait, I'm not saying this right. What are you talking about? I like anime. Who's 100% right? Can Tesla go to 145 though? It can. It's just a matter of, does this confirm? That's the best way to put it more, Pando. It's like, if this starts to head up from here, and that confirms, you'd go positive immediately, you're probably going to go into a positive trend for a little bit. We'll have to see. And then does that lead to a 2 hour rolling up? Okay, 2 hour rolls up. This is what I think happens with Tesla. Well, what if Tesla gets back in this zone and then goes like this? Or Tesla just gets some kind of bounce like this and then that rolls back down. That rolls up, rolls down into negative territory. So the negative thing that could happen is this just builds up slowly like this and then you see that drop off. The positive thing to happen here is if you get a huge reaction to 180.92, just a massive reaction after earnings, and we see this happen, and then you have big liquidity, you have a head, you have this, and this was all a fake out at that point with all that bad news. I'm not leaning towards that. I think Tesla sees maybe some kind of pop and then some kind of drop going on into, what is that, next week? Next Wednesday? Boom. But that's just what I'm leaning towards. That's what the stocks are telling me right now. The Q is telling me there's going to be a bounce in the tech stocks. So I have to say Tesla might bounce. Well, and at the end of the day, good companies, if you're a good company, you really don't care too much about the stock price as the CEO. You really don't care that much. I think it was like Amazon crashed a long time ago. Amazon crashed like 40% or something like that in a month. And everyone was talking about how it's the worst company. Do not invest in it. And then Jeff Bezos came out and he was like, he came out years later and said, Yeah, during that time, it was funny. I wasn't worried at all. They were like, "Were you worried when this happened?" He goes, "No, not even the slightest." They're like, "Why?" He goes, "Because it doesn't matter what the stock price is. It matters what the company's internals say. And we were making profit hand over fist while the stock was plummeting." So he's like, "It's not. It's just not indicative of what the actual company is. And if anything, it just says the market got that one wrong, and now you get to buy it at a discount." Oh, was it from 130 to $6? Okay, so it was more than 40%. And it wasn't in a month then. That'd be crazy. I really think Tesla might be setting up something here. I mean, the Qs are kind of telling you. The stock is not the company and the company is not the stock. Yeah, that's the very simplified version. I was trying to remember. I know I saw that video like months ago. But it's a very good point. And that's kind of what you're doing by trading stocks, by trading the market. You're trying to figure out when, oh, this went down a little lower than it should have. I don't think it's supposed to go down that far. What are the signals telling me? It's just a different way to do it, looking at the profits of a company and things like that. So my way of doing that is saying, well, the Qs weren't supposed to go down this low this week. They weren't supposed to go down this low this month, according to this wick right here, and now they're not. So now they're not supposed to go down this low this week. What if by the end of the week they're not? And that's what I would really look for, seeing some kind of strong move. That's all you're looking for in the market is opportunities where things are selling past where they should be, and then finding those bounces, finding those curl ups, finding where things sold off to a place where they probably shouldn't be. Maybe it was just profit taking. You see that curl back up and you go, "Hey, this is momentum heading up." So this isn't the downside for this particular stock. That's how I would think about it. Nvidia seeing a good move here. Look at that, confirming the 15-minute. Now we want to see the 30-minute, see if that's able to curl up. Positive territory. I think if that 30-minute curls up, you got a good shot to come and test. I'd say this level here, 882, actually. I think you get some kind of reaction like this. Is that extremely bullish? We'll have to find out. The cycle say market up until Tuesday PM, then boom, but trade like water. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, is some kind of crashing down. Let's see if like Tuesday, Wednesday we get some information, and then I believe, Tesla has that earnings in here somewhere as well on the 24th, I think. So Wednesday we do get, I keep saying Tuesday and it's bugging me. Whatever, we'll leave it. Wednesday we do get this durable goods, maybe not the most important piece of data, but GDP is going to be huge. And if that prints a good number again, people don't care about the debt we're going into, which you really should. But people don't really care about the debt that is risen from getting positive GDP reports. And they're more focused on, are we growing? Good, go up. And that makes sense. If we are growing, then stocks should go up. Technically, right? Think about it. Just think about it from a unbiased, non-trader perspective. Oh, the GDP went up. We grew as an economy. That means the companies within the economy should be growing. The money market seems to be rolling with Bitcoin in the year to date. Yeah, I don't know if Bitcoin's going to go down, though, because of those divergences. That's a good move. Look at that. We're breaking out. Okay, you broke out a trend now. Now you have the opportunity to test higher levels, go into positive trends. So if Bitcoin's telling you anything, what's it doing? It's coming up into its point of liquidity, right, in this area. So if Bitcoin's telling us anything, it's saying, hey, I might come back into this area, then base out, maybe get a retest, and then go higher. The overall stock market, not able to do that just yet, right? Its liquidity is a little bit higher up. We have to look at a 30-minute for that. But you can see right here, Bitcoin is trading up in this range if you would compare it to the SPY. So what if we get that reaction now, we fall off, and then we go up? We'd be pretty much following Bitcoin to a T. So same thing to be said with the Qs. I would say this daily expected move looks pretty good for today. 30-minute divergence in the near price action, confirming as of right now, turning up on the RSI. We get across that center line. It's game time. The move. Let's go. I'm not necessarily seeing anything on the 30-minute telling me it's going to bounce, but 15 minutes what I'm really paying attention to on a lot of these. You have a divergence here on the RSI, not necessarily the MACD here. So that's something to pay attention to. You could see some kind of bounce here. Let's just see on the daily. Would it make sense for us to bounce? Oh, well, if we want to take back that 20, you got to take back that 20. But you're getting really tight. A big move is coming for a lot of stocks. Apple still holding at lower levels. Tesla spreading out those Bollinger Bands before earnings. Amazon trying to hold up. Nvidia, you see how tight this is. That's why I'm saying an explosive move can happen to the upside. Look where the daily is. Daily MACD is right by positive territory. If we wanted a huge move, it can come if that daily just rips. AMD, this one's sketchy. I would not be playing around with this. This looks like lower high no matter what. Even if this curls up, positive territory, yeah, you can see a big move. Maybe you want to jump in on that, but not looking pretty on the grand scheme of things. Meta looking good, though. Taking back both moving averages, able to curl up. Maybe we get one more curl up. It's very, very tight. All I would do in this scenario, if I want to see some upside, maybe I just connect the two recent highs. I just say, okay, maybe some kind of move up to like 534, 535 makes sense. And I think it's like actually the halving. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I started researching the halving. And it's like, I think it's like a good percentage of the time it ends up actually going down from what I was looking at. Maybe someone knows a little bit more about that. I just don't pay too much attention to Bitcoin as much anymore. Like as far as what happens during certain events. AMD is going to struggle, man. I don't think that, I mean, you're below every moving average. That's why I really think that 183.20 is the highest we could go with this move. If we go past that, that'd be cool. That'd be great. You close above that, positive territory. That's okay. I'm not worried about that by any means. Meta, this looks really weak. Remember, this is the one that's telling you, hey, weakness is in this market as of right now. Not a good sign for Microsoft. Is it creating anything? Well, you got some divergences here. So Microsoft could even see a bounce. Maybe it gets some kind of retest and then fails. We'll have to see. Google, this one looks really different. Okay, this one looks really different. You're just bottling up in this area. Move up or move down is coming, right? It's kind of 50-50. It goes down in the run up. Has had all-time high about a year after in two other halvings. Okay, so initially it goes down though. Use hold above 427 and it might be go time. That's what I see as well, but that percentage has dropped every halving. And maybe it's a buy the rumor, sell the news, or buy the news, sell the fact. So I think that happens on, I want to say Saturday, right? I want to say Saturday that happens. JPM, this earnings and the report that he put out, a little bit sketchy. You have some 30-minute divergences down here. Well, one of them, that's leading you to go up towards positive territory. So from there, you want to see, did I curl over the 2 hour? It's curling over right now. So this actually is a moment where you could see a buildup for JP Morgan. What you want to happen is cup and handle. What you don't want to happen is you run into resistance at this gap resistance here, and then you see that fade, right? Because then we could go up like this and just curl down, and maybe you want to set up a 2 hour divergence, and that would make sense. Remember, in about a month, you have a higher percentage of actually ending up higher in 2 months. So in the first month, we actually have a 50-50 shot to really end up a little bit lower or higher than where we're at right now. But in the next month after that, you actually have that possibility to base out. So do I think we head lower? Most likely at this point. But if we build up to a point like this, I see a 30-minute create that handle, we break through, I would say, yeah, we're probably going to fill this gap. Looks good, though. It does look, that's a good bounce is all I would say. Netflix starting to climb here. See if that 2 hour is able to curl up. Be very cautious trading Netflix tomorrow. Remember, earnings 50-50 flip. Q's 426 heading towards 427. Let's look at 427. Let's see if 427 has an important thing. Well, it's that weekly expected move. You got to get back above that. You got to get back above that. Looks like a bull trap setting up. It very well could be. I just see if that 30-minute rolls negative. then you know probably that negative trend's going to continue. But if that 2 hour rolls up, which it is right now, be a little careful with that. The 2 hour momentum might take over. Netflix could dip the market. Netflix could make the market boom. This would be an okay correction. You're about at 5%. Yeah, 4.7, a little bit lower. I'd be convinced that this is the bottom. Or the SPY. Qs, though, Qs have done a good job here of beating down pretty well. There's your 5%, more than 5%. So this could be it for the Qs. That's a regular correction there. You just need the 15-minute to go positive, guys. Once that 15-minute goes positive, it's going to be good. But if that wants to keep rolling over, we'll pay attention to that as well, right? We'll pay attention if this starts to get up towards that center line, roll over, right? We don't get all the way up to here. We kind of stop a little bit short. Maybe we get above this high for a moment, roll back down. Well, that's going to be some negative stuff going on there. SPY wick is crazy. You know what's crazy is the wick on NVIDIA. This guy, you know why? Because this came out of the weekly expected move for just a moment there, and you had an opportunity to snag it if you wanted to. So congrats if you decided to do that. And it was outside its weekly for like literally a few minutes, which is kind of funny. Very, very cool. Yeah, that wick on NVIDIA is great. It just shows you they do not want this to break down. Whoever it is, retail or whoever's keeping this up, they do not want it below this level. So boom, holds up. Now we can cross up. Divergence down here. Can we go positive? That's overall what we'll be paying attention to throughout the morning here. Luke's got to get off at 10:30 because he's got to go get pho, guys. I was promised pho if it rains this week. She's buying. Well, with my money, but she's buying. You ever see this? We're partying. We're partying. It's the thought that counts. Hey, she thought of it. She told me it was raining. So, very, very nice. Are they doing magic? Yeah, kind of. But we kind of expected this, right? We've been calling for this bounce for a couple days now, saying, yeah, this is the level we would bounce from. We initially, you know, we bounced from that level. We said, yeah, you can bounce from here, but now you're moving sideways. So if you cross down, bad news. Okay, boom. Now you have that divergence. So now we could say a sustainable bounce could come. That actually got a good bounce, and then that ripped back down, testing that level again, creating another point of divergence. Boom, we could head up from here. That's a very, very good move from the SPY. If we're able to retake that weekly expected move, looks good. What's the SPY daily range, Lukey Poo 19? Fourth SPY, sorry, SPY. 505.61 to the upside, 495.35 to the downside. The reason these are very good, though, is just because, you know, you could react, see some resistance come in this area, then pull back down, create that divergence right here. Or not divergence, sorry, create the head and shoulders right here. Now, is that divergence going to be short, or is that right shoulder going to be short-lived, or is it going to scoop up like this one? That would be interesting. TLT's dropping. So this one here, it kind of looks like a flag at this point, but the 10-year is on the 2 hour curling up. So that would be very, very bad. You kind of want this to fail at this point if you're bullish on on bonds. I think we have a bond auction today. 4-week bill auction, 8-week bill auction, and then the 15 and 30-year mortgage. Those might move this a little bit. Grind baby VIX dip. Now we rip. Okay, and the VIX, we can pay attention to that. We haven't clicked over to it in a while, but there's it ripping down. So now you have to pay attention. 4 hours rolled over. Daily, can that roll over? It could from this area. What we want to pay attention to is 2 things for volatility. What do stocks look like when it's at this 200? So remember, you don't just want to do technicals on VIX only and take trades because the VIX. You don't want to take a trade because the VIX gives you that 85% chance of an up day or something like that. You want it to be proving two things at the same time. You want to see it on the VIX and see a signal on the stock market. So if we head down to this and then we see the SPY has a 30-minute divergence like this, okay, we know, okay, this has a good probability of popping. I'm seeing two signals at the same time. If we're not seeing that at this point, well, then we want to say, what if volatility goes lower, heads down towards 13? We see that come down to this area, fill that gap, scoop back up. What that would do, get this, go down to here, then curl right back up, positive territory. Maybe that is your overall moment. So I'd really just be paying attention if we see positivity for a few days for that to curl back up. But really, I think the Qs are the most important thing to watch right now. It's seeing some good strength going forward. We will just have to see, does the 15-minute go a positive? I want to look at Bitcoin just because I do have that option on BITO. I was expecting a big move here. We're coming into an area of 15-minute, not necessarily something, but 2-hour. Want to see if that can go positive. I think a good move is still here for Bitcoin. Want to see 4 hours, that rolling up. Yes, it is getting above the center line. So you got a good opportunity to head towards maybe a 67.7K. I think that's where you might run into some problems. Because if you pay attention to this area, this could be a big cup and handle in this area. This could be the big head and shoulders in this area. So I just want to pay attention. If I see an explosive move, which we're already exploding a little bit, does it stop around this area? Is it able to break up? Is it able to break through? Like, what's going to go on here? Which this is a trend we were looking at, but it broke through the trend. You could get a retest in this area. What does that mean for BITF? Well, it means we're going to get a strong move here, most likely. I mean, that definitely could happen, but do we stop at 28.32? You know, right where resistance could be? We'll have to see. Very dependent on Bitcoin for that one. Crying. Oh, no. She's talking to her mom. And she's talking to Abuela on the phone. Ari starts crying. Nvidia's going up. Yeah, Nvidia's going up. 15-minute divergence, right? So 15-minute divergence down here. This was a great little play. If you had the balls to do it, this was a great play. This was awesome. Like, if I would have saw that in real time, I would have thought about it, but not anymore. I have other plays going on right now. AMD starting to catch a bid, but that one's worrisome. Meta looks really strong. But really, it's just the Qs. Running into resistance right where it should. I mean, it always can. I just think we see an upward move first. If you guys know, I mean, I'm still leaning towards Bitcoin, you know, crashing at some point to like 13,000. But I think we're going to get a euphoric move, and then right when everyone gets that halving going on, it's going to be ripped away, kind of like a sell the fact. That's like, it could take 5 to 10 years to happen. Northwestern canopy development. That could take some time for that to happen. But that's when I'll think about buying Bitcoin again. Mara, kind of hard to tell. For real, kind of hard to tell. Just very oversold at this point. But right, Mara kind of relates to Bitcoin, if I'm correct, and that could get a reaction with Bitcoin. I would just say this: 2 hour. If we get a reaction, does that just curl over in negative territory? You probably want to pay attention to Bitcoin over the weekend with this thing going up like this. I think right now it's like a pullback to 50,000 looks very likely for Bitcoin. So if we do see a drop with the halving, I'm expecting 50K for Bitcoin. Will Apple go down more? Probably not. You're probably going to see this base out and confirm some divergence here. 30-minute chart kind of telling you some stuff, wanting to go up, but I think a 15-minute you're going to have that divergence, and it's just really close to the center line. So it could break down if we start to lose this low. So if we start to lose this, we could head lower. But if we start to, go positive right here, you do have that divergence here, and you're kind of bottled up. So a big move might be coming from Apple very soon. So just be open to that. Remember Tesla, we were talking about this bouncing. It's starting to bounce as of right now. You still need that 15-minute to fully confirm some upside here. And then you can see this head and shoulders maybe play out. It's not heading down yet, so you're getting some buying in. 30-minute going positive, so maybe we're not going to get to this zone. You're starting to cup and handle, probably. Handle around this area, cup around the gap fill, and then we see a handle. Boom. Starts to head up. Just pay attention if that curls over. 30-minute confirming on the keys as well. She's crying, so we're just going to look at stuff for a little bit. Not looking pretty as of right now. Breaking through this line here was pretty bad, but we're able to buy back above it. That's interesting. See if we can retake that 50. But no real signals giving you any hints here. No real divergences on a 30-minute. Nothing really on the 2 hour. So you're just looking pretty bad here. If you get a reaction up, we could see a something else happen here where we actually head lower because we could run into resistance at any point here. So you still need this to go into a positive trend to really take a chance on this. I'd just be careful with this one here. Maybe look at the individual names. NVIDIA kind of showing you a little bit more than TSM at this point. But NVIDIA, you should be in this move right here with this bar. You should be in at 848. Don't want to necessarily mess with it now because you can see that pull back. Maybe an entry comes if you pull back and get this head and shoulders right here. A little head and shoulders, left head, right shoulder. So we could do this. Maybe that's the moment. VIX, want to pay attention. 30-minute. Oh yeah, this thing's going to be rolling down. So you weren't able to confirm the upside. Remember, we were paying attention if the hourly wanted to cross. That rejected. Now it's going negative. So I'd expect some positivity to come into the market now. SPY curling up. Q's not able to curl up just yet, but 30-minute did cross. So we'll have to pay attention to this going forward. Now that the 15-minute, it's confirmed. 30-minute, we can see if that confirms, gets a strong move, goes positive. You're welcome, Mr. Spock. SoFi, you think a short squeeze is coming for SoFi? This thing was beat up the last time I looked at it. Yeah, it could be lower high. Lower, lower low. Lower low. What am I saying? Higher low. God damn, my brain. Flagging in here. Heading up again. Positive territory. Cup and handle could form. Head and shoulders could form. Well, cup and handle could form. 2 hour crossed up. I mean, you're looking for a head and shoulders play. If this stops somewhere around this area, I'd be convinced. See if the 2 hour can gain some steam here and then just rolls back down. That would be a negative thing. If you're going to go positive with this, well, you want to break out of structure. So we do have some structure going on, right? Some wedging. We're getting price nice and tight. We'll have to see if that's able to break to the upside. But at this point, if that daily rolls up for a few days, earnings going to be very, very important for this. Q's still just building up, just building. Just building. Look at that. Look at that. Let's look at a 15, actually. I like the 15 right now. I don't use the 15 very often, but when it's this clean, I like it. If that can go positive. Not necessarily with biotechs. I like to stick to my tech companies, Mag 7 type stuff. It's just what I'm comfortable with. VIX falling off, will this be the bottom? Most likely not for the VIX. I think now we're going to see some kind of push higher. But if the VIX turns up at any point, we'll be paying attention to that. We'll be adjusting accordingly, right? We're not going to ignore it by any means. Palantir's moving. There's some divergence down here. 30-minute might look better on this one. Yeah, 30-minute looks okay. Now you just have flatness of the RSI, so this leads me to believe, hey, this could be some kind of bounce that leads to another tear down. So if that does want to bounce up like this, see if that falls off. But what I want to pay attention to, if there is, because we're far away, that's why I'm saying that, we could get some kind of pop, drop. I like this 2029, remember that. We've been marking that off for a little bit. But on the 2 hour, you might have a divergence down here. Okay, you have a divergence down here, which tells you what could happen. That daily could roll up. So we could see positivity from Palantir for a little while, maybe this 25.52. But obviously, the first line in the sand is going to be this like 23 level. If you can take back 23, that's going to be pretty bullish. Thank you, Pitching Academy. Really appreciate the comment there. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Are we just going to keep going vertical up? Well, we're running into the first real test. This is the first real test, right as we approach this right here. It's going to be the first test. But the fact that we're taking back the weekly expected move is a good sign. We could end up, we could end up towards 438.28. I think that's a good level to end up by the end of the week if we see really big strength. A good place, I guess this would be a great place to end up. A good place to end up would be something like this. We do this, and then we go like that. That would be good, and then Friday you start to see it push higher. That'd be a good sign that we're going to see a bounce into next week as well. 15-minute on NVIDIA. It already played out for the most part. You just got to see if it's able to hold, go positive, and that kind of thing. Go, NVIDIA. Go, go, go. Oh! Gotta stretch it out. Gotta stretch it out. We can take a peek. Probably topping out. 30-minute divergence across the way here. Probably not going higher than this. Or at least you're in an area where you could make a right shoulder at this point. So you do have an argument for heading higher. Just 30-minute builds down to the center line, curls up, positive territory, right? We do something like this. Scoops up, left head, right shoulder, could be there. So that's what I'd be paying attention to. You need to go up. We're praying. We're praying for you. You got a good shot here. You got a good shot that Nvidia goes up, but it is a good moment to say, you know, to take a chance on it, I would say, but you have a 30-minute divergence at the lows here. Could be double bottoming. Oof, AMD looks so ugly. I don't even want to look at it anymore. Don't even want to look at it. 30-minute, pretty much, it's like, at this moment, I'm like, okay, we need to cross through this high here, make a new high. We make a new high, we're going to head towards probably that daily expected move. You have to say the daily expected move looks pretty likely as of right now. As long as this can go positive, it's probably going to head up. The probabilities are there. Man, step up your light game. I'm withholding my prayers till we hit 100 likes. That's solid. Oh yeah, one thing that would be fun. Actually, let's do this for fun. Let's look at Netflix's Max Payne. Doesn't that sound like a good time? Let's see how people could lose money the most here. Ratio of 1.07. So 600 looks like the maximum pain that could happen. 600. Some trickling calls, but high put walls here. So if we do see selling, 600 could come into play. 550 after that. Your first call wall, 650, 700, looking pretty good. So kind of a just right down the middle, kind of a spread there of like could be bullish, could be bearish tomorrow. So yeah, JS Boyd, I'm staying away from that AMD bullsh now. That one's not for me no more. Markets are trash today. I mean, you have signals giving you some trade setups. 15-minute buy right here. All right, 2.5 point move. Maybe that's all you need to make a little bit of money today. My bad. She's crying real hard. I was just saying Bitcoin could back off a little bit from where it's at. Maybe down just a tiny bit to create a head and shoulders. That's all it was. But if it bursts through that level, like that high, kind of confirms a new high, I would say positive trend. Hey, more Pendo. Let's go. Good little trade there. Well, I'm going to start to break down stuff because I might have to go help with baby girl for a sec. So we're testing a level where we really need to right here for the SPY. Remember, the SPY actually getting a slightly higher low here, something to pay attention to as we might break through, make a new high, and that would get us into positive territory. So I'd pay attention to that, but these divergences are starting to play out, which is very, very good to see. Now you just hope you're not doing some kind of flagging. So what can we pay attention to? 15-minute rolls over from this area. Yeah, we might test this level again. We might even go towards that daily expected move. The Qs look like a solid base here. It really does. We tapered off. Now we're heading up. If we can take out this high, it would look like a solid base. So if we can start to take out this level, head towards that daily expected move by end of day, that would be a very good sign. Apple going forward, not looking the best, but right, the 15-minute looks like it wants to, right? This is tapering as well, and you don't really want to lose this level, so positivity could be the answer here, right? We could come up to this level, back off, head back up, head and shoulders in play here, or maybe we just gap above that level tomorrow. We'll have to see, but if we start to break through this level, watch out, because that's going to be a little bit sketchy, right? You could head a little bit lower there. Tesla, this one, a lot of people trying to catch. But right now you have that divergence, hasn't confirmed yet. Until that confirms, and I would say even goes positive, I wouldn't be looking for any kind of bounce in Tesla. This could just roll up, roll back down, right? This doesn't look like a solid base just yet. Now, if we roll up, we come down to this point, we roll back up. Now you have that going on. You have some tapering going on. But as of right now, it's just looking like rolls up, rolls back down, negative territory. Like a 5-minute is going to show you that. Roll up, roll back down. It just looks like a flag at this point. So pay attention to that going forward. Amazon, this one here, see, this is the base that I'm talking about. This is now a good base because you tested that level twice. Now you're getting that reaction up. You're testing this high. You can break through that high. Hey, good shot. We're going to head towards something like 184. And then we see that base out. We see that kind of give us some structure to then break through and head higher. That would be a good sign. NVIDIA, this one, similar to the market, similar to the Qs. We see the 15-minute divergence, but we need to get above that high. You need to get above that high so you can go and retest it, get a lower high, and then keep heading up from here. AMD, ugly, ugly SOB. But same thing holds true. Take out this high. You can go up to this level, maybe even go all the way up to 164 or something like that, and then see that kind of do this, give you that lower or higher low. That's what I would talk about there. Meta going forward, strong move. You probably want to look at higher time frames. The 15-minute could pile up here, right? We could get some consolidation. 30-minute able to go positive, but getting a little bit overbought. The 2-hour about to curl up, though, so fighting against this might be the wrong move. I think if it curls up, Meta actually has a good shot to make a new high here because it's still close in the price action, even though it's been beat down. Now, the thing about this is if it makes a new high, it's going to set up maybe a divergence right before earnings. Okay, so if we do something like this, be very careful because earnings is right there. You have momentum slowing, and it's a 50-50 shot on that bad boy. Microsoft finally starting to wick up a little bit, give us some kind of divergence on the RSI down here. Do we see it on the MACD? Well, we do. We see multiple point divergence on the MACD. So we could be seeing a reaction up from here. Where could we go? Probably 417.50 before we actually base out, giving us some structure to really get a solid bounce. Google, this one's a little bit different, right? We're just kind of piling up in this area. We could see a big move. Really, I just want to see, does this 2-hour curl up into positive territory? That would tell me that Google has another shot higher, but we'd be getting another move higher, getting you close again to the negative territory, so that center line. So be very, very careful with that. Netflix will go over for a moment here. 2-hour curls up. We can see positivity. Where can we go? Well, I would have marked the 2 highs. I think this is your best shot, something like this. But if we wanted to head even higher, we have a channel that we're in right now. So 2-hour divergence, what I'm looking out for with this earnings. But we'll pay attention to this, see if that lasts into next week or something like that if it goes up. Remember, it's a 50-50 flip. You're right by this bottom side of this channel here, so you could see some kind of drop down. Just want to pay attention to that. As far as the VIX goes, you're starting to see the sell signal come on. I mean, we already knew kind of when this crossed over, likelihood of it breaking down was pretty high. So what I want to pay attention to with volatility, the daily side, see if that curls over. If that curls over, we may have some positivity for the next week or so, and then we could see this drop down to the 200. We want to pay attention to the signals of individual stocks and the SPY at this level. And if that gets broken, well, we could come down to this gap fill. before we turn back around. So I'm just going to hop off just a little bit early. I'm going to go help with baby girl. She's kind of yelling. Maybe she wants her dad for a little bit. But I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure if you do want to learn a lot of this stuff, right, learn about how we do things, how I see the stock market, how I use my indicators, the importance of divergence, why divergence is important, and things like that, you can go down. There's a link in the description for the course. Or if you just need a few more tools like weekly ranges, you can join the Patreon, where we do give some trade setups, which we actually gave out yesterday. So if you're on Patreon, you got a little extra video during market hours to show you guys that. But I hope you guys have a great day. I'm sorry I couldn't stay on longer today, but your boy's going to go help with the kids so that he's still in good graces so he can go get pho. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I really do wish you all the luck in the world. If you're in any play, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I wish you the best. I wish nothing but that. I just hope we're taking some smart plays, trying to give ourselves an edge before we actually get in. So I appreciate you guys coming by. I hope you guys had some fun this morning, and good luck trading with the rest of your day. I will see you on YouTube later tonight. And on Patreon, we're giving away those daily expected moves for individual stocks. Make sure to remember that. If you're thinking about joining the Patreon, today's a great day to join, because tonight you will get those daily expected moves for tomorrow on Patreon for all the stocks that we cover on this channel, including Microsoft and Google. Appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great day. Peace. And thank you for subscribing, Elena.